Hi, I mentioned that this tutorial is not meant to be overwhelmingly long. I only want to show you the efficient ways of using the scheduler. That's why I will omit the part of setting the scheduler, and I just want to encourage you to follow the tool's instructions, install the browser extension to simplify your scheduling, and let's move on to actual time-saving tools Tailwind has to offer. So the first video is dedicated to pinning your own content. One of the new statements Pinterest made in Creators Conference is that as a blogger, as a content creator, you don't need to pin much pins of other people. Some curated content is good, but it doesn't have to be 80% of other people's stuff, as some outdated Pinterest free tips recommended you. So I wanted to start with your own content, but not only because you need to pin more of your own pins, as Pinterest recommends us now, but also because Tailwind works in a way that you first want to occupy the best time slots in your schedule with your own pins, and then once it's done, you just fill in the gaps with other people's content. And if you start scheduling your own pins, you will pin much more efficiently. So first thing we need to do is to create lists of group boards for each topic in which you're working. You can organize your lists as I did. In my case, I have a lot of blogging boards, so I try to keep my own board separately. So I would first create a schedule for when I have a new pin. I first create a schedule to add this new pins to a list of my own boards, and then only once it's done I can add them to relevant boards, group boards. However, in some topics I don't have enough of my own boards, right? So it makes sense to me to add this my own boards to a list together with the relevant group boards. But one note here, in this case, if I do it, I also make sure that my boards will be first added to this list. It's not very user-friendly here with this list. You cannot change the order. And that's why you want to start with your own boards. And this way your pins will go first to your board, which Pinterest recommends us to do, because it gives additional distribution to the content creator if you first add to your own boards. And then only later you want to distribute your new pins to other group boards in your niche. Now let's take a look at how we use board lists when you have a new pin. Let's take a look at one new pin. So you just go to your post, you click on the Tailwind icon, which is basically you have it if you have this browser extension, and you select the corresponding list. You have to create lists first, right? So you create. Now you already have this list saved in Tailwind. So now you select this corresponding list. You don't forget that there's one very important step here. It's really important to space out your pins using intervals when you schedule with Tailwind. So I recommend you to put at least 24 hours between the pins. I would add here a scale based on a simple logic. If you have a new pin which needs additional boost, so you can add this pin throughout the first week to multiple boards, I would give this new pin about 18-24 hours intervals. But if you have a pin that has been around for a while, it's an evergreen pin, it's something that's not trending right now during this particular season. So in this case, I will better give a larger window, like maybe a week, 5 days to 7 days, to avoid being annoying to my followers with not so seasonal content on Pinterest. All right. So we set the intervals, and we also look at the time when you want your pins to be published. I usually set it for 9:30 p.m. EST, about that time, and if the list of board isn't too long, it's usually getting spread over 9:30 to 11 p.m. window, so that the pins don't get published at the exact same time each day. So time is set as well. Now we can click on schedule button and it's done. Let's just imagine the second scenario I wanted to talk about. Imagine you have multiple pins to different posts. How you can add them to Tailwind faster? Here's a little trick for you. You go to the board from which you want to select these multiple pins. You first save them to Pinterest manually, to your own boards, and now you want to save them from your own boards to group boards. All right, that's the scenario I'm explaining to you. So you go to your board and you find these specific pins which you want to add to the schedule. You click on this Tailwind icon on which of the pin, and the browser extension automatically saves all these pins as drafts. Yeah, it's not in your schedule directly yet. It goes to drafts. So every time you click, it goes automatically to drafts. And now when it's all done, you can make it like 10, 15, whatever number you want. And they're all in drafts. So now you can go back to Tailwind and find your drafts. And you'll see all the pins that you've just saved. This saves a little bit of time because you don't need to go back and forth from your board to Tailwind for each pin separately. All right. So now that you have a group of pins in drafts, you just need to select board lists for each of these pins. And again, be very careful setting intervals for each pin. Make sure that you don't miss any pin in this process. It's really easy to make this mistake when you do pinning in batches, scheduling in batches. So do the scheduling thing when you are absolutely focused, all right? Not when TV is showing something interesting and you're not focused. Once all the intervals are set, just hover over the schedule button on one of the pins and you will see, now you need to look in the bottom part of the window, and you will see a button that allows you to schedule all these pins together. So just click here and all the pins will go from drafts to your schedule. All right, you don't see them anymore in drafts, and now they will be populating your preferred hours. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how you can schedule pins of other people to fill in the gaps which are left in your Pinterest schedule after you added your own content here. See you there.